Welcome back to POV Pottery. I have gone ahead and put together the truncated cone, as you can see, and now it's time to add the bottom of these mugs. Now your little scraps, these are great for making coils. What I always like to do is get a little bit of moisture on my dry skin before I make a coil, and get a little moisture on the work surface that you're working on. Now the trick for rolling a good coil, I'm sorry, I should back it up. Squash your clay into a hot dog shape first, like so, and then roll it out, get the coil started by hand. Then finish the coil on a flat surface using the entire length of your hand, from the heel of your hand rolling to the fingertips. That's going to get you a nice round coil. Now, sometimes I have students who don't use the entirety of their hand, they just use their palm, and they just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and you get like one of these flat coils with a seam on it, okay? If that happens to you, roll up the coil, squash it down, and then use the entirety of your hand, the entire length of your hand, excuse me. And, oops, keep tearing this canvas around that hole. That way you can get a nice long round coil. You should be going for a pretty thin coil. I'm thinking about the width of a pencil or a colored pencil. Pretty skinny, okay? Because what this coil is going to do is it's going to add some more surface area for the floor of our mug to attach to, and we want to add that surface area and get some extra diagonal compression on the inside corner of the mug. But we don't want to add too much weight to our mug, especially bottom weight on the bottom. Okay, so here's a nice long coil. I'm going to break it in two, and let's go ahead and add it to the bottom of this mug. I'm getting my finger wet, and this time I'm using a scoring tool, which is a little faster. You can definitely make your own scoring tool with a pair of needle nose pliers and like a wine cork and some sewing needles. You can push the sewing needles into the cork, make your own. But I have a commercially made one. Okay. So I've got my coil, which is nice and scored. I'm going to score this in two directions. It's wet and it's scored, and then the edge of the mug is wet and scored. And I'm going to find where I put the seam. The seam is right here on this mug. So I want to make sure I don't line up the seam of my coil with the seam of my slab, because that would be putting a weak point on another weak point, right? So if I have an opportunity to make it a little stronger, I will. Just like when you see bricklayers, they always stagger the bricks, right? They don't line up the seams of the bricks. At least I've never seen a building with the seams lined up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start to compress the clay just a little bit. And next step is I'm going to score. and prepare the slab for the bottom. All right, thanks guys. We will see you in the next video.